Hey guys, it's Kristen and Ellissa
Hey
actually
guys.
here today. So not Bethany, but Ellissa is the third sister in the family. You're how old are you now?
I'm 26.
26. So she's younger than Bethany and me, but one of the sisters, and we've never had her on the vlog, but have been wanting to for a really long time. And a lot of you have been asking questions like, hey, Bethany's married. Is Ellissa still single? Like, what's her status? We want to hear from her. So today we're going to be grilling you. No, having a conversation about singleness and missions. So a lot of people have been asking us, DMing us. I know you don't know this exactly, but saying like, hey, Bethany got married. Like, is Ellissa still single? How's the transition been for her from Bethany getting married, after having been single for so long?
Right.
And what's that like for you now being single, Bethany being married?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. I would say it has been a little bit of a transition just because she's really outgoing and just, I don't know, she's a great leader. And so I've just kind of tagged along with her for a lot of life. But now she's gone. And so I feel like, okay, this has really forced me to kind of get outside my comfort zone. And it can be very uncomfortable at times. I think overall, it's maybe just made me more aware of the fact that I'm single, more of an awareness of like my season.
It's honestly been really cool to watch you step up and like rise up to all the occasions, like literally planning so many parties, leading things, like, and I think that's so cool how that happens when you're forced into like, you know, a different season of life and you're like, oh man, it's cool to see.
Right.
So
Yeah.
have you been experiencing any like internal struggles or wrestling with like, I really want to get married, but I'm not sure if I ever will.
Right.
Like what's going on in your heart?
Yeah, that's a great question.
We're just going straight for the
Yeah,
heart. We
going
do
for
not
the
mess
heart.
around.
Yes. I would say it kind of goes in waves. Sometimes it seems easier, like, oh, okay, I'm single, this is fine, I'm really busy, I'm active. And then other, weeks or months, it just feels almost unbearable. Like, I'm really tired of this season, to be honest, and I want to be in a different season. And I think when I'm in those like maybe lower moments, it's when, my quiet times haven't been great, or my prayer life hasn't been great, or I've just been focusing on other things, focusing on myself more. And so it kind of puts me in a lower place. But when my focus is more on the Lord, I feel like, okay, this is a little bit more bearable. Though the underlying heart is like, of course I want to get married, for sure, absolutely. So that's the desire of my heart, but it's balancing like that strong desire to want to get married with what God has for me right now.
I think there are probably a lot of single women who are watching, and maybe you're single and you're like, yeah, the desire of my heart is to get married. And they're just like all of us, when we're in a season of unfulfilled longing, it's hard to trust God in that season.
Sure.
So how have you, being in this season, how have you sought to trust God with your singleness?
Yes. Well, like I'm definitely not perfect. And there are a lot of moments where it's like, I'm not trusting God at all, to be honest. And I'm totally living in fear, and I'm really afraid of the future. And I'm afraid of like, am I going to be single forever? That's probably like the main question single girls ask, like, will this season last forever? And if it does last forever, I don't know if I could bear that. So things that have really helped me trust the Lord, like talking to you, we meet a lot and talk, and that really helps. Just having people in your life that you can talk to has been huge. Really close friends, good family. And then just being in God's word, honestly, like every day, going back to just those promises, like the basic promises that he's going to take care of you. He has a good plan for your life. Just knowing you can trust him. Seeking to trust the Lord looks like holding my life with open hands, just knowing that God has this and I can't hold on to anything too tightly, especially this season of singleness, knowing he has a really amazing plan for my life, and I just have to keep my hands open for whatever that's going to look like.
For the single woman that's watching and she's struggling to trust God, I think that was a really great word of encouragement, but maybe struggling to find joy, contentment, purpose in this season, what would you say to her?
Yeah. So I want to just share a couple verses that have really encouraged me. And these are verses that I kind of have been holding on to this past year. And one of them is from James 1:7. I'm just going to read it here. Every good and perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of lights. And then another verse that has just super encouraged me is Psalm 84:11. And that is, no good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. So just an encouragement that every good gift comes from the Father, and he is not going to withhold anything that's good from you. So if he is choosing for you to be in a season of singleness, that is his best gift for you right now. And any other gift wouldn't be as good.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
when you want to get married, like, how can this be better than what I want? How can it be better?
Yeah, it's hard to even imagine, but it's really true. And so just remembering that if he gives you the gift of marriage or children or whatever in the future, that's going to be his new gift for you, and that'll be the best for your life. So look up those verses, hold on to them. They're really encouraging. A couple practical things that I feel like have really helped me in my walk is really looking outside yourself and looking at the people around you. It's just like you have to imagine just like taking your head down and you're looking at yourself and looking up, and you see all these people around you that are people you could serve and people you could love. So look at your church, look in your friend group, people in your city that you could serve. That's an incredible way to find purpose and joy, just serving other people. That's like what Jesus did. Other things you could do would be getting involved in a Bible study. That's what I've done in a small group in my church. Found such amazing community there. Just loving on your family, your siblings, your friends, like hosting a dinner or a game night or a party.
Mentoring a younger girl, you do that too, which is so awesome.
A younger girl. Really just seeking to get outside yourself. Like, don't stay home in your bed with ice cream and watch Netflix all day. You know, that's not going to help you feel more content in your singleness.
We're going to switch gears here for just a minute, because a lot of people know that you've done international missions, you've done local stuff, and you talk about this on your Instagram. You have a heart for children, for orphans, for missions. And so have you always had this passion? Where did this passion come from?
Yeah. So when I was younger, probably like 12 or 13, I read my first like missionary book, and it was about a lady that went to Egypt, and she just rescued all these children and started this orphanage. And I think that like God used that book to just like start a small fire in my heart. And ever since then, I've just had a passion for wanting to love on children that are like vulnerable, children that don't have parents, children that just aren't loved. It's just a deep passion in my heart, I think, from God.
I just think it's so cool how God works, and how when you were a little girl, you read this story, and it just like a flame started in your heart, and as you grew older into an adult, it never went away.
Right.
And you love children, you love orphans, you love helping those in need. And so as an adult, how has that passion played out in your life locally and internationally?
Right. So kind of going back a little bit, growing up, like when I was a teenager, I want to go. I want to do foreign missions. But that door just wasn't open, and my parents weren't comfortable with it at the time. So I did the next best thing I could think of, which was to do mentoring in a public school. And the public school I was working with, the kids that I was working with specifically, they basically didn't have parents. And so it was like I was working with orphans. It was incredible what God did there. It was really, really cool.
They came
and
from
that was local.
Yeah, like rough homes. A lot of them were
homes.
raised by grandparents. And there was just a lot of struggle and need.
Yeah, a lot. And so it was so cool to be able to love on them here in my own city, which was amazing. And then God opened up an amazing door for me to be able to do an internship with a missions organization, nonprofit, that does work in China with orphans. And so I was local, I was here in my own city, but I was able to do a long-term internship with them. And that was for about a year. And I learned so much about missions, about orphan, about just caring for people in need. It was incredible.
And you were doing that here.
Yeah, locally, in my own home.
Through the computer, like Skyping.
Right.
And so what was the organization that you were with?
Yeah, so I worked with Bring Me Hope, and they're a nonprofit organization that does like summer camps in China for orphans. So for the year, I was just learning. I was learning about orphan care. I was learning about China. I was learning kind of all about that. So I would be prepared if I went.
And then you did.
Yes.
So at the end of the internship, was it at the end?
It was, in the middle.
Next summer.
In the summer.
Okay. Then what happened?
So I was able to go to China with this organization, and it was like, obviously a dream come true for me. I'd always wanted to do something like that. So I went for the summer, and it was with this group, so it was very safe, and I knew the people, and my family had a piece about it, so it was really cool. And I got to work with orphans and love on them, and I felt like, my heart was worked on while I was loving on these kids.
For anyone out there who's watching and they're like, I have a passion for orphans, I have a passion for missions, locally, abroad, whatever it is, but they're not sure how to step into that, if it's the right timing.
Right.
You've gone through that whole journey. What would you say to someone who has those questions?
I can totally relate to the passion, the burden that, you might have for missions. I had that all growing up. Ever since I was like 12 or 13 and I read that first book, I genuinely wanted to go. And I had many tearful conversations with my parents about how I just wanted to go, but they didn't feel comfortable with that. And that wasn't the right time for me, like in my life and even in my walk with God.
You were young, and they were like, I wasn't sure if it was safe.
Right. And so it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I actually got to experience what it was like going overseas, working with orphans, experiencing that kind of mission lifestyle. So my encouragement would be just trust the Lord on timing. If your family doesn't feel comfortable with it, or you're having to force it, like you feel like you're having to force the door open, it's probably not the right time. So definitely pray about it. Seek counsel, seek wisdom from your pastor, from your parents, from your friends, and then, just make sure that you seek a really great organization to work with. You don't want to just trust anyone you find off the internet, but get in contact with them, make sure it's a real organization, and you're not just wasting your money and you're going to get kidnapped when you get there. And then my advice would be, honestly, just to go. Like, if you have a peace about it, you have the money for it, your family's okay with it, I would say just go. Find an organization that, is reputable, and maybe it's a people group you're passionate about. So I would say just go and take that step of faith, and just see what God has for you after that. Maybe it will turn into long-term. Maybe it will just be short-term, and you'll go over there and realize, okay, I may be more passionate about something local. Or you'll love it and you'll want to move to that country. But yeah, don't be afraid to take a step of faith and to just go.
It's been so cool as your older sister, honestly, to get to walk through these seasons of life with you, and just to see you go from like early 20s to mid 20s, desiring singleness, trusting the Lord, continuing to trust God, and just how God has used that to minister to other people who are in similar seasons. And I hope y'all have found this encouraging. And then also just your heart for missions and orphans and wanting to serve and pour out, and just practically how you've taken steps. Like, you haven't thrown your entire life into full-time missions, at least at this point. God hasn't opened that door, but just how in small ways, locally, abroad, there are incredible ways you can serve. And so I've been encouraged just watching your life. Thanks. And if you've been encouraged, you can actually follow Ellissa's journey over on her Instagram at Ellissa Baird, and she has a really unique spelling of her name, Ellissa.
Yes,
so I'm not going to give it to you here, but I'm going to link to it below. You can follow her and just keep up with her life, what she's doing, and just find more encouragement from her life as a single woman seeking to trust God. Thanks so much for watching this video, and thank you, Ellissa, for being with us. I loved it. It was really fun. You're a natural.
It was fun.
Isn't she a natural? Yeah. If you want to keep up with us on a regular basis, go over to girldefine.com. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, because we post brand new videos every Wednesday. Coming down the chimney.
Nah.
This is the singer sister. How old are you?
26. I'm so excited to be out
Oh wait,
here.
sorry, that was the end.
I thought you wanted me to say more. And it's been great. Trust the Lord, surrender.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Wait, am I talking?
No, I'm asking a question. I'm just trying to think of how to get into it in a natural way.
Wait, I need to start over.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Really lost.
Yay, you're finally messing up. I thought you were too good at this.
I got lost in my brain.
She never messes up. With like, okay, start over. I couldn't get into the transition. Okay, sorry. 3, 2, 1.
We should do a song.
Okay, yes.
That'd be so funny. Patreon, give money to a good cause. Girl Define will rock your world and empty your bank account.
Oh, goodness. Thanks for the song. Y'all, we are reaching the end of the year, and we need your support to keep this YouTube channel going. Don't you think?
Yes.
Aren't you a Patreon?
I'm a Patreon.
She's on this channel, and she
And I'm
supports
poor.
us. And how do you support us? You give $1
$1
a video.
Patreon, yep.
Yeah, and we only post typically like 4 videos a month, and so you're giving
It's
$4
less than
a
a
month.
coffee, basically.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and you love coffee,
Yeah,
so this is
yeah.
a sacrifice. Less than a coffee, and you support this channel. If you like this content, if you appreciate this channel, if it's been a blessing and encouragement to you, and you want more interviews with awesome people like Ellissa, come on over and help us reach our end of year goal by becoming a patron, giving $4 a month to help us get this channel to help it go in 2019. Click the link below, patreon.com/girldefined.